The museum is 152 years old, so barely a year into the American Civil War. And the museum at that time was charged with understanding the nature of Army battlefield medicine during the war, to learn best practices and share those best practices with other medical officers in the field, so that something that someone was learning in the Virginia campaigns might benefit a medical officer working further out in the West. Our work today is to share the value of military medicine to the public. Why is military medicine important to the services, and why is that activity a benefit to the public at large?
They're really excited to see an actual brain and brainstem and spinal cord, and to look at actual organs as opposed to just looking, in the book or me explaining it to them. So they really like seeing the real live thing. Well, not live things, but the real specimens.
You want to see diseases or trauma. If you play sports, you can see what trauma could do to your head, football especially. The elephant tied his leg, that's over there, and the conjoined babies, that's what got me on my stomach right now. I seen it on the slide before, but in real life, it's crazy.
The museum features an exhibit on the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, and one of the first surgeons on the scene in the box at Ford's Theater was an Army surgeon. And then medical museum staff performed Lincoln's autopsy that next day, April 15th, 1865. So now in our care is the actual bullet removed from Lincoln's brain and a couple of other artifacts related to the autopsy of Abraham Lincoln. 2008, at the Balad Air Base north of Baghdad, when they were transitioning the emergency room and the tent hospital complex to a brick and mortar facility, we were able to collect the actual floor that served as Trauma Bay 2. And Bay 2 was designated as where the worst wounded would be treated. This Bay 2, the floor, became known as the place where the most American lives were saved or lost since Vietnam. And Air Force personnel in the desert north of Baghdad cut this 8x8 piece of floor out of the desert and shipped it to us. Some of the very first visitors to see that floor on display were young men and women who were still recovering from their injuries, who started the road to recovery on Trauma Bay 2, on that same piece of floor. It's a remarkable testament to modern military medicine. It's a memorial to all the lives that were lost, but it's also a place for us to really understand what far forward military medicine is able to achieve. They were able to still maintain a 95 to 98% survival rate. During the worst of the Iraq insurgency, they're still turning out an amazing survival rate under all of those conditions, and that's part of the story we're able to tell.